Hi guys, welcome back. So, wow, the weather has just quickly turned. And before any of you say, gosh, she's not going on about the weather again, it's ingrained in me. I'm British. It's what we do. If we're cold, we moan. If we're too hot, we moan. But I'm not moaning that I'm too hot. It's just the fact that it has flipped so quickly. I showed a video of 2 nights ago, myself, my husband, my dogs, we were soaked through to the bones. And then tomorrow they've actually put out a health warning. Because in the UK the temperature does turn to a thick humidity, and the fact that we've had such cold, rainy weather, people haven't really climatised. So there is a good chance we're going up to potentially 30 degrees in some places tomorrow, that people that are unwell or elderly might struggle a bit. But I'm hoping that the weather holds strong for Saturday, because I am going to Lady C's ball with my husband. I'm so excited. I get to see him in a tuxedo for the first time. I've got a ball gown, obviously. I'm not doing a tiara. My friend is doing a tiara though. I am having some special bits put in my hair and I can't wait to share these photographs with you guys. So let's go back to the King and Queen that we're continuing their tour of the Channel Islands. There's been a couple of videos that have been released. Queen Camilla actually got rushed away. Queen Camilla just got an ice cream as well. It was to do with security concerns, but they were allowed to come back. I mean, obviously, everybody after what happened to Donald Trump, I'd imagine security services around the world are possibly cats on a hot tin roof at the moment. But they obviously continued with their trip. And Guernsey is one of the places I've always wanted to go to after I watched a film. And it's called the Guernsey Literary Potato Peel Pie Society. And it's fictional, but it is based on Germany's occupation of Guernsey between 1940 and 1945 by the Nazis. Whilst it has interwoven some of the history of what happened to the island and the islanders, it is still a beautiful film. There's a few bits that make you cry and a few bits that make you laugh, but overall it's one of those perfect sort of films to watch. So that was just a film recommendation. Whilst the King and Queen were obviously still on their tour, meeting all of the amazing people in the Channel Islands as well, there was a video that surfaced and people at the moment are on King Charles's back for some reason. Since Catherine's had the cancer diagnosis, it was Prince William before that they were making out to be this awful ogre, but they seem to be doing it to Charles. Apparently Charles got a little bit annoyed because after Camilla got soaked, she and Charles were stood in front of the chairs and no one was available to take her coat. So Camilla, she just handled the situation perfectly. She just shrugged it off. And I just think that there was no need to make a fuss about it, but the newspapers at the moment seem hell-bent on trying to paint King Charles as some sort of an ogre. And people always go back to, oh, Charles was awful. Do you remember the thing with the ink in the pen? His mother had just died. The pen wasn't working. He was tired. He was then taking on all of the responsibilities of becoming king. It was a pen. He got frustrated with it. It's not the only video clip that has made it as well into the news, with the media trying to stir up this hatred towards Charles of being this mean, nasty, horrible ogre. And this goes to yesterday, the opening of Parliament. We've now got a new Prime Minister. Lordy help us is all I'm saying on this one. But when the king sat down on the throne, he had the page boys helping him with all of his robes. It's very traditional. It's all the pomp. And when the king sat down, when you first look at this clip quickly with the headlines, Charles admonishes page boy, Charles was losing his temper. He was not. What happens here is the king sits down and the robe is stuck on the corner of the chair. The page boy tries to sort it out and the king uses his wrist to flip the robe over just to guide the young page boy. But when you listen to it properly, you can hear the king say thank you, not once, but twice. Yes, that's not a man that is raging and being horrible to the page boy. We know the king gets frustrated with some of the clothes that he has to wear. We know that the king can be, I would say, sometimes a bit grumpy at times with certain things, but I put that down to his age for a start. But this wasn't one of those times. But he was just simply getting frustrated with the robe and flipped it over for the boy. He didn't flinch, and as I said, he said thank you to the young lad twice. If anybody had a video camera set up in the house, you guys would change your opinion of me instantly, because I tell you what, if I'm having a hot flush, I'm hormonal, maybe I'm just in a bad mood, and I walk into the living room and my door handle snags my cardigan in a pocket or a jumper, it's atomic bomb level rage that I have. It's a good thing that we don't have axes in the house, because I probably would have chopped the door down within those few moments. It only lasts for a few seconds, but the rage is real. And I know some of you are feeling me on that one as well. You're just so angry. It's like when you get in the car and you try and pull your seatbelt over and it gets stuck and you find yourself like that. You want to tear the door off the car and go all Incredible Hulk on it. But you don't, because you calm down. And as I said, the difference is we don't have the video cameras in our homes to capture these moments. So I don't think Charles behaved badly there, but I am getting a bit tired of people constantly trying to make him out to be this awful, horrible human being, when quite clearly he is not. Now, whilst the King and Queen were, of course, still doing their trip across the Channel Islands, Queen Camilla celebrated her 77th birthday, and there were some beautiful tributes and some fantastic photographs that were released across social media. One of them being from the Prince and Princess of Wales, and it was this photograph. This photograph was taken by none other than the Princess of Wales herself. Queen Camilla had asked her to do the photography for a magazine. I think it was Town and Country from memory. But I love the fact that they shared such a personal memory. Catherine and Queen Camilla get along brilliantly. Catherine is a fantastic photographer, and I'm sure the Queen felt far more relaxed with Catherine taking the photographs than what she would have done as strange photographer. Although I'm sure Millie Pilkington would have stood up to the task as well. She has long been a long-term photographer of the royal family, dating back to as far back as Catherine and William's wedding. Now, speaking of weddings, let's move on to the 4th anniversary of Princess Beatrice and Edo. Now, I'm not normally one for people talking about people's anniversaries every year. It's wonderful if it's yours. I mean, most of you guys remember last year, my husband and I forgot our very own 5th wedding anniversary. I was sitting there getting my nails done in the salon, and the girl was talking to me. She said, "Oh, what are you up to this weekend?" "Oh, it's our wedding anniversary, our 5th wedding anniversary this weekend. My husband's taken me out for a nice date night. 5 years. When did you get married?" And I sat there and went, "Oh, we got married yesterday." She went, "What?" I said, "Yes, yesterday. Yesterday was the 30th, wasn't it? 30th of March. She said, "Yes." I was like, "Oh." She said, "Well, what about your husband?" I said, "I'm in the clear. He forgot as well." So that was completely fine. But for Beatrice and Edo, the reason why I want to talk about their wedding was because it was so beautiful. It was so personal. The fact that Beatrice was wearing the tiara and the gown that belonged to the Queen. It was the last, obviously, family wedding that the Queen and Prince Philip went to. It was beautiful. There were COVID restrictions in place, but Edo and Beatrice didn't want to wait and then have a big, huge wedding. They wanted to get married, and it was just done absolutely beautifully. And as I said, it was some of the loveliest photographs we've had, the last photographs of the Queen and Prince Philip proudly looking on at their granddaughter. So I thought I'd share that, and the couple did share a couple of unseen photographs. So many people were so mean about this couple when they first got together, but I actually happen to really like Beatrice and Edo. The fact that they've got a young family now, between them they've got their daughter Sienna, I just think they're very sweet, and I do hope one day to see Beatrice definitely as a working royal. As I've said many times, I think she's got what the royal family needs. She's likeable, she cares about her family. There's no bad stories that are out against her, apart from maybe some of her questionable dress sense. But hey, we all wear some scary things when we're trying stuff out. And as we know, their mother Fergie, she's quite, what's the word? Eccentric with her fashion taste. So of course this naturally rubbed off on their daughters. But as I've said many times, we've seen Beatrice really evolve since she married Edo. It might be the Italian influence. It might just come with maturity. I don't know. But she looks absolutely beautiful. So it was just a nice share. Now, we've had Queen Camilla's birthday, we've had a wedding anniversary. Let's talk about someone else's birthday. And this one, my heart goes out to him. Now, I know not all of you are fans of Thomas Markle. I know some of you believe that the Markles are all as bad as each other. I don't think that Thomas Markle did anything wrong. Meghan has spent all of her life praising her dad until she got the ring on the finger for the prince. There are so many things that I think that she did to Thomas that I find it absolutely heartbreaking that on the eve of his 80th birthday, he still is saying the only thing he wants to do is to speak to his daughter. I think it's safe to say that the daughter that he once loved and knew has left the building. But this is definitely something that's always going to backfire on Meghan. As I said, how can anybody believe that they promote the importance of family on Invictus after the way they treated both their families? How can Meghan talk about kindness and compassion when she has treated her father like an evil villain? There are so many things with this whole Thomas Markle fiasco, and it all started with Prince Harry. It started with Harry when he turned round and said that he and the royal family would be the family that she never had. That's when it all started with the Markles, even the Raglans. This is why family pictures started getting shared, and it gave Meghan the excuse to not just cut off Thomas, but every other single member of their family. She only got the niece out of the woodwork, Ashley, to appear on Netflix, and it goes to show the level of manipulation that Meghan used on the royal family and Harry, the reason why they never met Thomas or the rest of her family. Because Ashley, when she was sitting there on Netflix, she's like, the royal family were the ones that stopped me from coming. The royal family were the ones. Meghan told me that I wasn't allowed to have a relationship with her. And you're thinking to yourself, she's told Ashley that. The royal family, if they could stop anyone, don't you think they would have stopped all of the unknown celebrities, people like Oprah? The fact is that Meghan has manipulated her niece, and I think it was up at Samantha as well. It's a little bit of narcissistic revenge, isn't it, as well, going, I've got your daughter on my side. You know Meghan is that vindictive. But when it comes to Thomas, what did he do that was that wrong? He had paparazzi pictures taken of him. That's it. It's something that Meghan has done from the moment that she started getting close to Harry, when she was dating Harry. She's done it during her marriage to Harry. She's done it since they've been in America. And the bit that always makes me come back round to this is the fact that Jeff Rayner was the photographer that took the photographs of Thomas Markle that started this whole scandal. Meghan and Harry have worked with Jeff Rayner since they moved to America. He was one of the first agencies that they used to set up a pap stroll with the dogs. This is Jeff Rayner taking the photographs. Meghan has used the paparazzi, the man that near enough caused absolute mayhem for the royal wedding. The man that also is responsible for the reason why she's never spoken to her father since. Well, it wasn't the release of the photographs. The last time Meghan and Harry spoke to Thomas Markle was when he was recovering in hospital from having stents, I believe, put in his heart after having heart issues. I think it was a stroke. So Harry and Meghan's reaction to Thomas Markle lying in hospital, bearing in mind his age, he was overweight, was to have a go at him and to bark at him and to tell him what he can and can't do. No wonder Thomas was like, I haven't met you, you're marrying my daughter, this is the way that you've turned on me and you're talking to me like I'm a child. So I'm not surprised that Thomas lost his temper and hung up. But the fact is he's done everything to speak to his daughter since, and Meghan has coldly, completely cut him off. When she wrote that Dear Daddy letter, right, she got palace staff, as we now know, it all came out in the court case. She designed the letter. She deliberately chose words that would play at the public's heartstrings. Who does that? Who writes to their father? Well, who gets staff involved to do that, to say, when this letter gets released, I wanted to pull on the public's heartstrings. I want to come across as a victim and him as this ogre. But what Meghan didn't intend on was Thomas never released the letter. So she had to get her 5 friends to People magazine, who I think is Meghan, maybe Abigail Spencer, Marcus Anderson or something, and possibly Meghan. And, they vilified him. They made him out to be like this bad guy. So he reacted, and then he went to the newspaper and he started releasing the letter. Now, this obviously meant that Thomas fell into her trap. But it's the second trap he fell into, because I believe that Meghan got Jeff Rayner to target her father. Jeff Rayner approached Samantha Markle, and Thomas had been vilified by the UK media. They'd made him out to be this fat slob living in Mexico, always releasing photographs of him coming out of a shop carrying cans of beer and takeaways. But what he was actually doing or buying them for were for the security guards where he lives, okay, in Mexico. They live on a compound, they've got security guards. He was always buying stuff for them. But the newspapers were really, really vile, and I can't help but feel that Meghan had sowed some of those seeds herself. This man had a successful career in Hollywood, far superior to his daughters. He was a Hollywood Emmy award-winning lighting director. And the UK media were making him out to be some sort of overweight slob. So no wonder it was very easy to convince Samantha to convince Thomas. Well, we'll take some photographs of you, Thomas. I know what I'm doing. We'll get pictures of you working out. We'll get you, suit fittings. We'll get you looking up London, on the computer. And I'm sorry, but yeah, why wouldn't Thomas go along with it? He knows that his daughter has paid for paparazzi for most of her career. And as I said, she really upped the ante the moment she started getting close to ensnaring Harry. Then it was convincing Harry that she was being stalked and harassed. So there was lots of pictures there. So she could go, they won't leave me alone, Harry. And then, well, as we know, the rest is history. But as for Thomas begging his daughter to let him see his grandchildren, he's already said, I'm 80 years old. Most men in the family don't live this long. And she's cut him completely dead. And I don't think he's got a hope in hell of seeing those children or seeing Meghan. And I don't think that she's the daughter that he once knew and loved. I think she has changed so much. It's very clear with the way that Meghan has treated her uncles. As I said, when Harry did this radio interview and said, we're going to be the family that she never had, her uncles came forward and released photos. Meghan justified cutting them off completely because they released the photos. She'd already cut them off. Two of her uncles, one on the Raglan side, one on the Markle side, loved her. One uncle on the Markle side was the reason she got the job in Buenos Aires. It was actually work experience, not because Meghan was so talented she got that. He was a former diplomat and he pulled strings and he got her the job out there. He was completely cut off and he begged to see her or to speak to her before he died. Nothing. Zip. Same with the other uncle. He'd released some family pictures because he couldn't understand why Meghan was acting like she was orphan Annie. She was loved by both sides of her family. Well, that was unforgivable for Meghan. And of course, her Sussex squad was saying, oh, no wonder she's cut off her family because they've, sold pictures to the press or gave them to the press. Meghan had cut them off before they'd released these images. So, of course, this uncle, he begged and pleaded for Meghan. He said he just wanted to, apologise to her or speak to her or wish her well in life. She cut him off. He's also died. Her auntie has said that Meghan didn't so much as send a card of condolences. Now, how can you be that way with members of your family that loved you? Meghan has always got a reason to vilify people in her life. She's never responsible for walking away. Meghan is not the cold woman that just Markles people. They've done something to her. They must deserve it. But as we've seen through so many stories and so many witnesses that have come forward, people that have known Meghan her entire life, when she's done with you, she's done with you. And the moment she got the ring from the prince, she was done with all of them. So my compassion with Thomas is because I'll be completely honest, I lost my dad when he was 64 years old. My dad never got to meet my husband, and it's something that it breaks my heart sometimes. My dad was everything to me, and my husband is now everything to me. So it is that kind of thing that I would give anything for my dad to just have a moment to have met my husband. But it is what it is. But the fact is, Meghan has got a living father that loves her, that has been begging and pleading and doing everything he can to just say, please, please talk to me. And she's cut him dead. So like I said on my other video, with this painting that came out, this is Meghan Markle's Dorian Gray picture. Meghan can preach kindness and compassion and love and how families are important when she next gives her speech at the Invictus Games. But her true personality is this: blue, ugly on the inside and cold as ice, because no one's going to believe that she's full of kindness and compassion and love if this is what she could do to the man that gave her absolutely everything. He gave her her first acting job. She got a role on General Hospital because her father was a lighting director, and she got her first line. I can't think of the exact way to explain it, but that's when you can then apply for your acting card, an acting license, which he paid for. He paid for Meghan's education, which isn't so far out there because most parents, obviously, especially in America, do. But he paid for all of her tap classes, her ballet classes, all of her trips all around the world. He spoilt her rotten. Even when she got married to Trevor Ingerson, he paid money towards that wedding. He gave her every single best opportunity in life, and she cut him dead for doing paparazzi photographs, as I said, that she has done herself. She did it in the run-up to meeting Harry, the run-up to the wedding, and they've since done it together since. Harry does them now. Harry does them. People magazine exclusive when he's going to and from the gym. I mean, please, in restaurants, they are both in on it. And for them to justify treating Thomas so badly over just having some photographs, which to be fair, when you look at the photographs, he just wanted to make himself come across as a better man for what the UK and US media were painting him out to be. And I find that terribly, terribly sad. So I will say from me, Thomas Markle, if you watch this, I will say happy 80th birthday. And that's it for me, guys. This is it for the weekend, just because I'm busy, I'm getting ready for the ball. I'm so nervous, but I can't wait to share the pictures with you on Monday. So I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you really, really soon. Take care for now. Bye.